Good morning, and what a beautiful, beautiful morning it is today. I just came out along this stretch of river and I've just been walking it to see what new faces have showed up since I was last out here, and it has just been a wonderful morning. Frequently in my videos, I talk about photographing species that I haven't before. I've got my goal lists of species that I want to photograph, and many of those species are animals that I've always wanted to photograph but haven't. And this year, one of my main species that I've been wanting to photograph, one of my priority species, are wood ducks. So over the last few days, I've been coming out and looking at this stretch of river where I've seen them in previous years. And I've just been hoping to find them, and this morning I actually found some. I've got some just back here in an unusual place to find ducks. Now, before I tell you about where they're at, if you've never seen a wood duck before, they are just absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous ducks. They're one of the prettiest ducks, in my opinion, that we have here in North America, or in the world, honestly. They are just so pretty. Now, wood ducks in my area, they're not uncommon, but they're also not common, and they're very flighty. They're incredibly skittish ducks in my area, so they're just very difficult to photograph. I have maybe like one or two pictures of wood ducks from the past, so again, this year it's just been one of my priority species, and they are starting to show up in my area here, so I'm hoping to come together with a plan to be able to photograph these ducks. Now, the ducks that I have up here, they're not in the water like you would think that a duck would be. Wood ducks are one of the few species on Earth that actually nest in trees rather than on the ground. And so I've actually got some wood ducks in some trees up here, and I've been watching them. And it's been pretty cool. The females are flying around in the trees, just awkwardly scrambling around. And they're cavity dwellers, or nesters, so they actually nest in tree holes, like a woodpecker, an owl, or something. And so I've got these females kind of awkwardly scrambling around the trees up here, peeking their heads in these different tree holes looking for an adequate nest. And it's been really cool. I've never seen this behavior firsthand. I've seen videos and stuff of it, but this is the very first time I've actually seen this behavior myself, so it's been really fun to watch them this morning. Like I mentioned, these ducks, they're not incredibly common in my area. I've seen 6 on this stretch of river this morning, which is the most I think I've ever seen this year or in previous years. And in previous years, when I start to see them pop up in this area, they're only around for like a week or two usually, and then I just don't see them as consistently anymore. So the fact that I'm seeing them this morning and that there's 6 of them in this area means that all of my other projects that I'm working on, all the other species that I'm focused on photographing right now, all of that gets put on hold, gets paused right now, and all my attention's going to go to trying to photograph these wood ducks, because again, they're a priority species and I really, really want to photograph them. So I'm going to come up with a plan which probably involves using my floating blind to try to get these guys while they're in the water. And yeah, I think we'll go from there, but I'm just going to observe these guys a little bit more this morning, keep my distance and observe them. Hopefully they'll come down to the water so I can see what areas of the water they're kind of hanging out in, and then I will piece my plan together and probably be seeing you guys here in my floating blind in the next day or two, and hopefully we'll get some wood ducks because they are so pretty. Okay, I'm going to just kind of hunker back down here in the brush and keep an eye on these guys. Hey everyone, good morning. So I came up with my plan to hopefully photograph these wood ducks. I'm in my floating blind right now on a stretch of water where I've been noticing them pass through the most. Now, there's a couple of challenging things with these wood ducks out here with my plan. So usually when I go out in my floating blind to photograph some birds, I make sure that there's a lot of them. I've got some fish like freaking out here. So yeah, usually I try to make sure that there's a lot of them, so I give myself the best chance to have something to photograph. And when I say a lot, I mean usually like a dozen or more, or I try to make sure that those birds have been in that area where I'm setting up very, very consistently. But these wood ducks are tricky because, the other day I mentioned that there were only 6 of them that I noticed in the area, and that's the most that I've ever seen out here. So there's not a whole lot of birds. And the other difficult thing is with these wood ducks, I noticed that they're not sticking to just one patch of water. They'll swim through occasionally this area that I've set up, but they're very mobile. They're just moving around a lot, and they don't stick to the water either. Like the other day I was out here and they were in the trees. I didn't see them really in the water, but then I came out and observed them again, and they were in the water swimming through this area, and I saw that a couple different times. So that's my plan, is to just be here in this stretch of water and hope that they swim through. If they get up in the trees again, that's great, but I'm really hoping to get them on the water and be able to get some pictures of them out here. And so that's my plan this morning, and I'm really, really just hoping that I can see and photograph some, because they are just magnificent birds, and it would be so much fun to be able to get some pictures of them. Like I mentioned before, I've got a couple of pictures from the past, but nothing that I'm really proud of or happy with. So I'm just considering this a species that I haven't photographed before. And honestly, I really haven't gotten a lot of pictures of them or spent a whole lot of time observing them. So this is a species for me that I'm considering like brand new. So let's sit here and wait. There's nothing yet. It's been a really quiet morning, but let's sit here and wait and see what we get. I've got a male wood duck out here, a drake. These are the ones that I'm wanting to photograph the most. They're just so colorful and so pretty. He's still quite a ways up the river, and he's not really heading this way yet. But I mean, I didn't see him before, which means that he has been slowly making his way this way. So I'm just gonna chill here and hope that he continues to just make his way this way. And if he is moving that slowly where it's hard to notice, that might be good, because that might mean that he'll stick around for longer in this area that I'm in as he passes through. So I'm gonna shut this off and try to get some footage of this beautiful, beautiful duck. That was amazing. Oh, these wood ducks are so pretty. I am so glad that I came out here this morning. I'm so glad that I noticed them out here the other day, and that I put the time in over the last couple days, just kind of tracking what patterns I could establish with them. And I'm just glad that I set up here because these birds are so pretty. He passed through really quick. Like I mentioned before, he was just kind of hanging out up the river, and he was just really not moving quickly. And then all of a sudden, like, he just started swimming, and he came right through pretty quick. So I was able to get a little bit of video footage of him, a couple pictures, and then a female came in and joined him. Actually, she just kind of appeared out of nowhere, and they swam through really quickly. And then they like 5 minutes later, after they had gone around the corner, they flew back up the river, either them or another pair. They flew back up, and they landed. So I'm hoping that means that they'll do another pass through here shortly. So we'll see. Just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful birds. I'm so happy I got the content that I did, but I'm gonna keep waiting here. I'm not done yet, so I'm gonna keep waiting here and just hope that they continue to pass through. That'd be awesome. It's funny, this morning it's pretty chilly out here, but I'm actually like overheating. I've got this gear on, and I mentioned it a couple of months ago in a video. I've got this coat on that I've been using, and I've got these new waders on. Frog Togs is the brand, and I've given them a shout out before. I've used their gear for years now, and it is just excellent. And even though it's pretty chilly this morning, I'm getting a little bit too warm because this gear is just so good. It's these insulated waders and this insulated coat. I'll put links to them in the description below if you're looking for cold weather gear to use while you're out on the water. I highly recommend this stuff. So I'll put some links to it below in the description, and you can check it out there. But for now, let's zip it, and I'm just gonna keep waiting here on these wood ducks, and hopefully they pass back through. I've got another duck coming through, and he's moving pretty quick. It's just a lone male, a lone drake. Let's keep our fingers crossed, and hopefully he comes pretty close to the blind here. absolutely incredible. That was amazing. Oh my goodness. Those ducks are so pretty. Oh my goodness. So that male wood duck did come very, very close to the blind. He passed through really quickly, but he didn't even care about the blind at all, which is good to know because, like I mentioned before, some species are a lot more wary of the blind than others, specifically like mallards, like I mentioned before. But then there's some species like coots or even golden-eyed ducks, species like that, that really don't care about the blind at all. And this guy was very similar to that, where he just came through. He wasn't cautious or apprehensive at all. And I was able to get some pictures that, again, just fingers crossed. I'm really hoping that they are sharp, like I think they are. And yeah, I'm really happy with them. He wasn't flapping his wings or anything like that. You know how much I love photographing ducks as they flap their wings, or getting them in flight, different stuff like that. No, he was just swimming through, so he wasn't doing anything like that. But I got some pictures of some water dripping off of his bill, and just those vibrant colors. The light was absolutely perfect on him, and I'm really hoping they're as sharp as I think they are. So really happy with that. I was also able to photograph some mallards that came through. I got one flying like directly at my camera, which was pretty cool. I got that on video actually. So again, I'm hoping that's sharp as well. But it's been a great morning out here with the wood ducks and the mallards, and there were some golden eyes for a minute that came in and just kind of passed through, some late season golden eyes. There's not many of them in the area anymore, but I got some of them. So it's been a fantastic morning. I got some pictures I'm happy with and some video footage that I'm really happy with, and it has been absolutely amazing. I hope you guys enjoyed this week's video. I took a risk coming out here when I could have been doing some other stuff. Like I mentioned earlier, the conditions weren't exactly like I usually prefer them to be when I go out in my floating blind, just because there weren't as many wood ducks as I was hoping for, or as many birds as I usually come out for. So there was a big risk that there may have been nothing here. They may have been way further down the river or something, and I just wouldn't have gotten anything this morning. But it totally paid off, and I'm very happy with what I got. So I hope you guys enjoyed. These are absolutely beautiful ducks, and it's one of those goal species that I had this year that I'm really happy that I was able to see and kind of track their behavior and be able to photograph. I don't know if you can hear the fish all around the blind throughout this video. They're splashing everywhere, so if you're wondering what that is, that's what it is. There's been a lot of them. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this week's video. I had so much fun. The birds have settled down quite a bit now, and it's been pretty quiet for the last little bit. So I'm gonna sit here a little bit longer and just hope that the wood ducks come through again, but I haven't seen or heard them for a little bit now. So we'll see what ends up showing up here, if anything else. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this week's video. Again, I'll put a link to the gear that I've been using this week down in the description below. It has been really fun using this gear this winter and this early spring so far. It's just amazing stuff. So I'll put links to it in the description below. And I do get a lot of questions about the gear that I use, not just the waders and the clothing and whatnot, but the camera gear, all that stuff. So I'll put a link to my gear page on my website down below as well. Go ahead and click that link, and I've got a very comprehensive list of the gear that I use out in the field, and I'm constantly updating that as I find and test new gear that is the most trusted gear that I use. So I am constantly updating that, so check it out if you're interested, and let me know if you have any questions. Thank you so much for following along this week. We'll see you next time. Have a wonderful week. We'll see ya.
you.